You are listening to a special edition of the Called to Follow podcast, where we're going down the college football hole.
Well, hey everybody, I want to welcome you back to another episode of Called to Follow, where we're looking at biblical principles regarding the things that we deal with in life. Now, I have to just give a disclaimer, because this will be like no other of our podcast. We are going to get to some biblical aspects near the end, so if that's what you're waiting for, you got to wade through some of the discussion. We decided to do a podcast today that is all related to college football. And the reason for that is it is chaos right now with the college football world. And so unless you're living under a rock and you don't care at all about sports, you probably recognize all the drama that's centered around college football and playoff stuff and things like that. So we thought it'd be fun to talk a little bit about that, just as a fun thing to do, and then we're going to sprinkle in some
and since we talk about the college football hole that we try to avoid in the other podcast, I wanted to do a little bit of an intro for this. So, are you ready?
Oh boy!
Welcome to the college football hole.
That's where we're at now.
That's our intro.
So, if you have watched any of our podcasts, I thought this you're going to patent that.
Yeah.
That
the college football hole.
Copyright trademark.
Yeah. So if you've been watching any of our podcasts or listening to those, it seems like over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it seems like college football has been brought up each time, where we've kind of like started going down that road, and we're like, oh, we can't do that because we're got to stay focused. And so we decided to, hey, let's just do a whole thing where we talk about college football. And so with us today, we've got some guests with us, some people that haven't been on the podcast before. And so I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself. We'll start over here, and then we'll kind of go around the room. And I know it's not the room to you guys online, but at least to these guys. So go ahead.
Hey, I'm John Ardito, Knoll fan for life. I'm one of the elders here at Lake Eustis Christian Church, and just happy to be here. I'm very interested to see where this conversation is going to go.
I know where it's going to go. Just don't know if we want it to go there. So John, so obviously John is representing Florida State. We kind of all have different teams. You'll see that.
There
here
are
in
no
a
other
second.
teams. It's Florida State.
Well, yeah, it's a matter of opinion.
The other 4 teams that are in the playoff, there's 4 others.
Wow.
There's four more that did make the playoffs. Oh, sorry.
All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm Kevin Kuiper. I'm all Michigan. Go blue. Number one.
He's one of our northern guys here that we just have to tolerate. So
The resident Michigan fan.
I was raised
Yes.
here in Florida. I'm just born from Michigan.
yeah, that sickness followed you down here.
all the Michigan fans carry it with them.
That's right. That's true.
It's that extra gene.
Or never mind, missing gene. Never mind. All right, why don't you guys, or go ahead, Tyler.
And you know me, I'm Tyler, so hello everybody, and go Buckeyes all the way.
Go. Yeah. So we've got. It's interesting.
Wait, hold on, and Brent.
I'm going.
I'm going to
claim it.
I'm just going to make sure.
I'm not wearing anything because
He's shy.
the only apparel that I have that is of my team is a collared shirt, and I didn't feel like wearing a collared shirt to a podcast about football. So, my team is the great from the past Miami
80s.
Hurricanes.
The 80s, wasn't it?
Yes, we were early 80s, early 90s, and early 2000s. Like
Maybe.
Well, just
We
to
still hold-
2001,
listen,
not
we-
02 though.
No.
we still hold the record. Yeah,
Testaverde
penalty
days.
flag. We still hold the record for the longest winning streak in college football. So,
wow.
no doubt about that. I thought Georgia was going to do it. That's a whole other story. We'll talk about them
should
in a
have.
little bit. They should have, yes. Needless to say, all that stuff. So I'm a Miami fan. So I really have no dog in the fight regarding the playoff system.
Or Kane.
Neither
what's
do I
that?
really.
Or Kane.
Yeah. So I'm just here to moderate kind of the discussion and talk a little bit about these things. So it was interesting. I thought about this earlier, and I said this kind of off camera. We've got Florida State criminals. We've got crab legs, right? We've got
bringing Winston up still.
we got the other cheaters, the other criminals.
current criminals.
reigning criminals.
Ours were 2012.
I guess and bribers. We bribe our
That's right,
players.
yeah.
We bribe them.
And we've got the poisonous nuts in Ohio State. So anyway, I get to dig on these guys because we're not very good. Miami's not very good. So we could be, but we don't know how to take a knee. So anyway, all that stuff, right? So
you should ask Tanya Harding. She knows how to take a knee.
gosh.
They'd be 8-4. They'd be 8-4 had they taken that knee.
Yes. Anyway, so we are going to just dive in, and so a lot of the chaos around college football today centers around the whole playoff system and how they come up with the 4 teams. So I just want to throw this out there. And I already know what everybody's thoughts are, especially to the guy over here to my left. I know his thoughts. What are your thoughts on how the college football committee, whatever they're called, came up with the 4 teams that they have? So obviously we have Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama.
Yeah,
those are the top 4, right? That they have said. Your thoughts? Let's go. Let it happen.
Oh yeah.
Let the Noel fan go first.
We'll let
travesty. Complete travesty.
All right. Explain your position.
All right. So it's easy. My position is real easy. They decided that no matter what happens out there, and people say that football is won by a team, that they decided since Jordan Travis went down, Florida State was no longer a team.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what irks me the most. Right. We didn't have the opportunity. We don't have the opportunity to prove who we are. Mm-hmm. And I'm hearing people say, "Oh, we're going to play Georgia. You'll have an opportunity to prove it." No, we won't.
It's not going to be the
same.
same.
No, we won't. Yeah. Johnny Wilson's already gone. He's going to Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Defense isn't going to play because they don't want to get hurt. I mean, Georgia's going to have the same problem. Georgia's going to have people that aren't going to play.
They won't play either.
So this is not a game on game. This is not a team on team.
This is not a true reflection of what they could be. Yeah,
it's not.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I have zero problem with Michigan. I have zero problem with Washington being in there. I don't even have a problem with Texas being in there. Mm-hmm. Alabama should not be in there.
No.
Yeah.
No matter what you want to do, it's about ratings. That's why they did it. Okay. I saw it today. Alabama, the average view was 7.3 million views on their games. Mm-hmm. Florida State was 4.6 million.
Sure.
Okay. So they were looking at views. That's what they were looking at. Alabama should have lost to Auburn. Okay, and I understand. You played 60 minutes. I get that. Auburn screwed up.
I say they did lose to them.
But Alabama, at a 4th and 31, does not win that game. They got lucky. Yeah. They got extremely lucky in the corner of an end zone, and that needed to be taken into account. So I say they had 1.5 losses.
1.5 losses.
And even though they beat Georgia, they didn't beat Georgia handily. And I'm going to a record right now, Florida State fan. I don't think there's anybody here that can't say Georgia is probably not the best team in the country.
Yes.
They got beat up. Alabama beat them. They lost the SEC. That's their fault.
Yeah.
They had their own ticket to write.
Yeah.
But they're probably the best team in the country.
And their claim, I think Georgia's claim in that whole thing of the loss to Alabama was their top 2 guys were not playing at full capacity. So I know that's their thing. And I agree with that. When you're not at full capacity, you're not the thing. And I think that's the claim about Florida State. People are saying they're not at full capacity, so they're probably not going to be as good.
And I get that, but look at our defense.
Yeah.
Right? Our defense have played shut out to Louisville's Cardinals.
Oh, yeah.
We shut them down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's good defense.
We shut Florida down in the 4th quarter. In the swamp. In the swamp.
Yeah.
We won that game on the road.
But Florida
5-6. Florida.
You
didn't beat like a contender. Florida. No. I get that. I give you the win. I'll give you the dub. Yeah. But
rivalry game
in hostile territory.
Hold on, rivalry game though. Same thing with Alabama and Auburn, right?
That's true.
Rivalry game. So you play the rivalry games.
You got to throw out records in those things. Records go out the window. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. So I don't look at them as 5-6. And Florida played really well.
Yeah.
In the first half of that game, they played really well. Yes, we were getting beat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then our defense turned it on. And I think, look, I'm going to go on record and say I don't know that we beat a Michigan. I don't know that we're going to beat a Texas. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I would have liked that opportunity. I would like to have tried.
Do you think the TCU Georgia game last year played into that? If you don't remember that, TCU went into the national championship game and got shellacked by Georgia.
56-3,
65-7 or something like that.
Well, also, they said like most of the viewers watched the Ohio State-Georgia game.
Correct.
More than they watched the national championship.
That was the national championship.
That
was the national championship game.
Really.
Yeah, no doubt
so I'm wondering if that played into
that. That's why I brought up the statistics of how many people watched Alabama games and how many people watched Florida State.
It is a ratings thing.
I think it absolutely has something to do with it.
And it's not so much that they got the opportunity to have an excuse to to put the bigger
That's
ratings
correct.
team in. So it's like, all right, we got a chance to put the bigger
correct.
guy in. So that's why they do that.
That's great.
And they should have put Georgia in. They should have put Georgia in, not Alabama.
I think so too, but
I can
that's
understand
the head-to-head
why.
thing. Is weird.
I can
yeah.
understand why they don't put Georgia in. They did not win the SEC.
Yeah, that matters. That
I
matters.
realize
Your
that
conference-
Alabama didn't win it, you know.
Well,
Yeah.
Bama
Couple
did.
years ago,
Bama
they
beat
didn't.
Georgia.
Yes.
Right. The bottom line comes down to, and let's face it, the CFP has been flawed since 10 years start ago. Right.
Oh yeah.
There are 5 power conferences and 4 spots. It doesn't work. It
doesn't
never
add up,
worked.
yeah.
Somebody was always going to get left out. It
Yeah.
never worked. And that's what happened in this case. They decided that the ACC is a Group 5, not a Power 5 conference.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they decided. Because you have a 13-0 ACC champion that won the ACC championship on the road,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Neutral site,
Yeah.
with a freshman third-string quarterback
Right.
who, yes, had 55 yards and was worthless. Okay? Okay?
But that's not who's playing
But
in
the
the.
the team
defense
won, the team
destroyed
won.
them.
Yes.
Defense just shut them down.
Oh yeah.
And he won't be playing in the bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other
Cade will.
Cade will. Yeah.
Cade will, and he'll play well. He's good.
He's not a bad quarterback. Yeah.
He's good. He's
If
not
you're a-
Jordan Travis. He's
if-
not Jordan Travis.
If you're a scholarship athlete at Florida State, you're good. You're
Absolutely.
you're a good quarterback.
They're
yeah.
all look. If you get recruited and you come to these
You're
schools,
good.
you can play ball. The bottom line was that quarterback that got thrown in the ACC, Glenn, when he got thrown in there, he had 4 passes all year.
He was like 16 years old or something like that. wasn't he?
I don't really think it's that complex that they're looking at going, well, they're a lesser team because they're an ACC team. It's all about ratings and money. It's,
I think it
that's
boils down to that.
100%
I agree.
what it has to do with.
But their comment was Florida State is a different team.
Yeah.
Without that
But I think that's their
what they
excuse.
said.
That's their excuse.
That's
for
what
it,
they
I think.
said.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
It's ratings and money.
Yeah, it's
And
all about money.
It's also why, if you've seen any of the news stuff, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, put out $1 million in the budget for litigation, possibly,
Yeah.
because they figure Florida State lost out on about $10 million by not making the playoffs. $10 million is what they've lost. There may be a lawsuit about this.
Maybe.
Now, should they
I mean,
win? No,
yeah.
they shouldn't win. They shouldn't get that. It shouldn't be done. But that's going to be a whole nother
Just move
subject
on.
here in a little bit about
Yeah,
money.
I mean, Florida State is coming back from a negative few years of just being terrible.
Mike Norvell has
they
got us
they got a future. So I mean,
He's a great coach.
You can take
He is.
hope
Great
in
coach.
that
He is.
13-0 season, ACC champion. You have a future with his recruiting and what's coming up.
I'm
for sure.
excited. I'm excited for what Florida State's going to do in the future. I really am.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm disappointed for the players on that team that should have
Yeah.
had an opportunity.
That stinks for them.
to showcase themselves.
Yeah.
And they didn't get that opportunity, and that's why I'm so angry about it.
I think the other side of that is, okay, so whether they say this or not, whether admit it or not, I that whole idea that, well, but Florida State's not going to be as good as they were because they lost Jordan Travis. And I would say, yes, I think everybody agrees that your backup guy is not going to be as good as your person. But let's go back. I don't know what year it was at Ohio State with their backup came in. CJ. Not
Yeah,
CJ.
with
What's the guy that
man you had-
Shotgun or whatever his name was, or anyway.
Braxton Miller went out, and now why can I can't Cardell Jones.
Cardell.
Yeah.
He comes in
I couldn't
as
think
a,
of his name.
as a backup,
Yeah.
and they won the
He
national
was third
championship.
string. He was
Yeah.
third string.
Yeah.
CJ,
And
Cardell
lit it up.
Jones, CJ. Okay,
So
So you just don't know who's gonna
well,
what they're
most
gonna
of these
do.
teams have depth. I mean,
Yes.
they got depth.
They
They
do.
got talent behind other guys. I
Yeah.
mean,
They do.
the majority of these
Yes.
D1 schools do.
What happened with Florida State? It shows you that you've got to play your third stringers every now and again. When you're up 60-3
Give
on
them
North
some reps.
Alabama,
Give
give
them
them
some
some
time.
reps.
Yes.
Let them play.
Yeah.
So Michigan does that.
Yeah, you've got to give them
All
chances.
year,
Yeah.
we only played 2.5, 3 quarters
Yeah.
max.
And they took their starters out.
And then all the
And it's
starters,
not a
the
bad
whole
move.
line, everybody.
No.
And they put second, third stringers in.
I mean, it's easier to do that
So-
when you're playing cupcakes all season.
and we got the signs.
says the guy in the same conference.
But I mean, and I agree. That's what I said. They should always do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I also say they should go for 2 instead of the extra point on a touchdown
Mm-hmm.
to get into where you have to go for it. Now you know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but the
good- that's
kickers
a good
don't have a
point.
job.
Yeah. Then what are the kickers gonna do? They're field goals. That's all they
Right.
do.
Well,
Oh, okay.
but that's what I mean. Go for the 2 sometimes because
sure.
sometimes
Work
you,
things in.
that experience.
if you're winning big, that's the time.
It's always different from practice and game time.
Yes.
I mean, let's face
You
it.
got to have game time
gotta
experience.
have it.
Yeah.
I think we're all in agreement in the room, though, that Alabama doesn't deserve
No.
to be in the fourth spot.
Alabama, I'm sorry.
Alabama's loss to Texas takes them out
I
to
would
me.
have swallowed it better if Georgia took Alabama's spot
Yes.
Oh yeah.
and jumped us. I would have
Yeah.
taken that better.
There's no way to put Georgia in.
There's not.
They
but I'm
lost the
saying,
SEC
I could have
championship.
handled that better.
even though they're good enough to be in there, they 100% are.
I think the CFP specifically went out and got Alabama. They wanted Alabama. They were not going to keep Alabama out of that. And all they did was they sat back in a room and said, if they win the SEC, they're in.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, they did. They're in.
Yeah.
And they were 8th
but we can't keep Texas out.
They were 8th ranked going into this.
And if they would have found a way to put the Ohio State in, they would have done that too.
Yeah.
Because it's the same. There's a lot of
Marketing,
fans.
yeah.
I mean, the Michigan Ohio State game,
highest rating,
20+ million viewers one game. That's one of the highest viewed games of the year. I mean, there's a lot of fans, both Michigan and Ohio State across the country.
It's such a big rivalry. Yeah.
And it's big money. They'll travel.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah. Well, I think we could go on and on about the whole are the right four teams in there.
Can we please?
I mean, I look at Georgia, and yes, I get it. They lost the SEC championship game
by 3. Only by 3.
But they won 29 games in a row, whatever it was, 29 in a row.
Handily. That's a heck of a streak.
Handily.
Yeah, and then you lose. Yes, you lost to a good Alabama team. That if you look at the stats, and I don't have the stats right in front of me. But I believe that that Georgia had more offensive yards in that game than Alabama did.
I think they did, yeah.
I really believe that they had more. They just couldn't capitalize and put it in the end zone.
That's correct. Alabama's defense stood them up twice in the red zone, I think.
Yeah. So I look at that and I think, yes, Florida State certainly got gypped, and they should have had a chance to play. Whether they could have won or not, they should have had a chance. But I think Georgia has a claim. I would have had it, honestly, if I were doing it, it would have probably been Michigan, Washington, Florida State, and Georgia. I think those 4.
And no Texas.
Because, I mean, I just look at it. I think, objectively, I think you've got Georgia that's better than Texas. I really do. If they're playing at their capacity and their full capacity, I think they do. But, I mean, so I think Georgia's got they're just like you guys. They've got a dog in that fight of arguing.
There's a lot of people that have claims for that fight.
But Georgia is the defending champs too.
Yeah, exactly.
And they because they're defending and that one loss, I think they should have had the opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same.
They weren't even given they weren't even looked at.
Yeah, like you said, they're defending champs.
Yes.
So they should get a chance to defend that title.
Yes.
Right? Well, it's the same.
Unless they went 7-5.
Correct.
Well, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
thanks.
I'll
put that down. One insult for you.
Make that note. It's the same argument no matter what you do. It's the same argument. It should be the game is played, you win, you're in.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what it should have been.
Ultimately,
the undefeated team.
Yeah.
3 undefeateds should have been in, and the decision should have been made between Texas, Alabama, and Georgia.
Yeah.
And in my mind, Texas was a champion, Alabama's a champion, Texas beat Alabama, Texas is in 4, and you're done.
Yeah.
That's what it should have been.
Yeah.
So, and this
very simple.
This won't matter in the future, but I've said this for a couple of years now. If you took one of these Power 5 conferences and just dissolve it, which they've already kind of done with the Pac-12, they've done that now, ultimately. If you do that, then you have 4 power conferences and every conference champion's in the playoff. That's the easier way, but they never did that. Now we're going to have this 12-team playoff, and I think years down the road we're going to have this same discussion of who deserves 11 and 12. It's going to be the same argument. Who deserves to get in 10, 11, and 12?
Right, the next subject. I mean,
that's
really
the next question.
That's exactly where we're going to be. Number 12, 13 should have been in.
Yeah.
What you don't have the issue in is the absolute deservers, which are going to be the winners of the conferences, will be in.
Right, because those 10, 11, and 12s are going to be wild card
the only
teams,
thing you
teams
argue,
that kind of snuck in.
The only thing you can argue is who gets the bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's 1 through 4?
Because you could have 5 undefeated teams, and one of those is going to have to play.
That's correct.
With the
One's
12.
gonna have to play.
So that's kind of the second thing we were going to ask is so obviously there's a lot of debate, right, on this year for sure, a lot of debate.
Let's keep going.
But listen, next year they're going to expand it to the 12-year or 12-team playoff. Aren't we going to be in the same spot that someone's going to be looking in? I mean,
there's
someone's always left out.
Yeah.
There's always going to be somebody left out,
right?
There's always going to be somebody left out of this. But again, like you said, to me it's going to be a different story because you're talking about you'll have your New Year's 6 games, right? You're going to have that set up. You're going to have your top 4. You're going to have conference champions. All will be in the playoffs no matter what.
Right.
Right? And they should all be 1 through 5 somewhere.
Right.
Sure.
Okay? So the argument to me wouldn't be who's 13, 14. I think it's always going to be somebody making a claim.
Sure.
But 13, 14 won't be the argument. The argument's going to be who's 1 through 4.
Who gets
right?
the bye?
Who's the 5th one that got left out?
Right.
Yeah. And the problem with it is they have to start making a decision whether the CFP thinks the ACC is a conference or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they think it's a cupcake conference. Well, Clemson played in there. Now, Clemson did not have a good year this year. But the SEC didn't have a good year this year.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC was not good this year.
Not like it has been in the past.
They weren't. Alabama was not good. They lost at home to Texas by 10 points. They were not good. Now, they got better all year.
They got better as the year went.
Better.
Yeah, I agree with that.
They got better. They're
and
a
those
good team
strong
right
Gators aren't nothing either no more.
No.
But, I mean, all of them. I mean, Tennessee.
You've got LSU.
Tennessee, and my wife's going to kill me for this part of it, but Tennessee starts out like gangbusters, and they play great, and then they fall apart.
Yeah.
Same with Kentucky.
Yeah.
Kentucky,
They fell off.
thing.
They fell off,
but
too.
Kentucky beat Louisville.
Yeah.
Right? They came back and beat Louisville. So it's it's one of those things that somebody's going to get left out. But you've got to start figuring out: do we have 5 conferences or 4? And if you want to have 4, fine. Let's start realigning. Let's start realigning everything. Figure it out.
Well, I mean, they started doing that with the Pac-12.
They did,
like I've been talking to Kevin. We talk about college football all the time, and that there's never going to be an easier road in the Big Ten than this year to get to the playoff. And that's what I was saying to him. Like
next year's going to
be hard. We got Oregon, Washington,
and
USC.
Oregon's a good team.
Yeah. So there's going to be a lot. It's no more cupcakes anymore. No. It's not going to be. It's going to be just as strong as the SEC, if not stronger.
We got Washington in like the first 2-3 games.
Yeah.
And they're number 2 this year.
Yeah. We got Oregon.
So next year is going to be. I mean, right off the bat, it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it will be. But they won't. Oregon's going to. I mean, they're a good team, but they're not going to have 30-year-old Bo Nix this year.
Well, this is true.
30.
Is he 30? 34?
No, he's not that old.
He's still got 2 years eligibility, doesn't he?
Well, like Chris Winkie.
Wow.
Chris Winkie.
Oh my God.
Chris Winkie was like.
All right, so somewhere we have Winston and Winkie. What anybody else we're going to bring in here?
Oh man.
Anyway, so yeah, I
Both
agree.
champions, by the way.
I do. Yeah, that's true. I do agree. You've got with the whole 12-team playoff system. It certainly allows your undefeateds to get in with no questions, right? Because you're not going to put a 2-loss team ahead of it. You wouldn't think they would. I mean,
I wouldn't have thought they would put Alabama at Florida State.
They don't. They didn't do things normal this year as well. One of the things that's crazy to me, and this isn't really even a question we posed earlier, but I just thought about it. Like, you've got all these different polls out there too. Like, you've got
coaches poll,
AP poll, and then halfway through the season they come out with the BCS thing and the CFP stuff, and I'm like, can't we just get one thing?
But technically you have it. I mean, once the BCS rolls out, that's the
which is how
nobody follows anything else.
I agree with that, but like, why have these other ones at the beginning? Because they don't matter. Like, it doesn't mean. All it is muddy thing.
It makes them feel good.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Makes them feel like they're accomplishing something. The press and the coaches. They
makes the coaches feel good that they can vote for
and the press. They feel like they have something to say.
That is true.
Until the CFP board gets together and says, you're all wrong. We're going to put these 4 in.
Yeah.
I wonder, do they release like the names of the CFP? Who those people are?
Yeah.
Is that out there anywhere?
It's out there.
I know Joe. Is it Joel Klatt? He's one of the announcers. He's like on that board, I believe. Yeah.
And boo.
Oh, isn't Kurt? Is Kurt Herbstreit?
Herbstreit is one.
Is he one of those?
He's
guys?
a voter.
He's a voter.
Oh.
He's a voter. Yeah.
He's a voter, and he's getting blasted.
How do we?
They're blasting him.
How do we get to be voters? Can we move into that?
Yeah, I'd love.
They don't want me to be a voter.
You're a little biased though.
Just a little bit.
All right.
No, I'm not biased. I said Georgia's probably the best team in the country.
I agree.
I'm not biased.
Until January 1st when Michigan proves it.
Well, yeah, but you're playing Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Yeah, we're gonna kill them.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
That'll be a question for.
I'll get to that.
We're gonna wrap that up at the end.
That's a few down.
All right, so let's throw this question out there. Kind of changing subjects a little bit from the ratings and college football playoffs. Your thoughts on college football, NIL deals, all that kind of stuff that comes with that. Even I put in the question there as well. What about people? And you've already identified this. Players not playing in bowl games because they're going to enter the NFL or are afraid of getting hurt. All that kind of stuff. So let's talk. Kevin, tell us what are your thoughts on that?
I do not like the NIL. You're being paid. You should not be paid. You're getting free school.
Right. Yeah.
You're getting school already. People would kill to go get school.
Sure.
And you get to play a sport you love that hopefully you're good at. Mm-hmm. You're getting free education, which should provide you down the line. I don't think they should be paying these players. And then they're paying one player more than another. Mm-hmm. So, it makes the other teammates look like, well, why are they getting so much and I'm not getting anything?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I understand the reasoning.
Sure.
but I don't like that they're getting big money. They're getting bigger contracts than they could almost get in the NFL.
Well, wasn't that Caleb Williams, the guy from USC? Didn't he say that? He said, I can stay and get more in NIL deals than I will a contract with the NFL this year. And I'm like,
he lost like 5 games in a row.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Keep
it.
swelling that head there, Caleb.
So I'm not against players getting paid for their likeness. What I'm against is the avenue in which they've chosen to do it.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Like I look at a guy like, okay, you get this 19-year-old kid coming to a D1 school playing scholarship football. Say, okay, look, you're going to get a percentage throughout your career here at the school, and we're going to put it away, and we're maybe work some things so it can grow, and then at 30 years old, you get this money.
Yeah.
That'd be different.
That would be different because the school is making bank off their name and likeness. They sell their jerseys, and it's only fair that they eventually see the profit of that. But to give it all to them, kind of like the prodigal son, he gives it all to him. Look what happens. He blows it all. So
they're still getting free school. They should pay the school back too.
If they're making NIL deals, that's not a bad idea.
That's
they
not a bad idea
pay
either.
that money back to the school.
Yeah, if they're getting a big chunk, and a percentage of that would go back to the school.
If they're getting $100,000 worth of, or more than that worth of free school, why do they get both ends of that?
That's true. Yeah. That's a good point.
That's a good point too.
I love your thought there, Tyler, about the idea of putting that away. I think that would be beneficial to all professional athletes as these, we'll call them kids because they are kids, coming out of college or even out of high school, going into NBA or going into NFL or MLB. They're going into those leagues and they're getting millions of dollars.
Oh.
Like if you would have given me $1 million at 20 years old or 21 years old, I would have not spent it well. I guarantee that. I would be out of money already, right? And so I think that's a great idea. Maybe that should be a thing that, it's mandatory. You put that in a trust fund or something that, when you're 30 or 35 years old, you start getting a cut of that. Like you get $50,000 or $100,000 each year or whatever it would be.
Well, then you don't have situations where like Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers goes to Ohio State, plays on the team, gets $1 million NIL deal, and immediately transfers. Never plays a down on the field.
Not right.
And so they're playing a game to get that check. Just and it's like, okay, and it takes away the tradition that I know all of us as college football fans love. That tradition of like you had a player that went, like you had, like you said, Chris Weinke, you had these players from Florida State, like Derek Brooks, they're historic, Deion Sanders, that played their whole career. I got Tom Brady at Michigan. They played their whole career at their college, and they're committed to that team. Win or lose, they're committed.
They're committed.
Correct. And it matters.
And it matters.
Peyton Manning. I mean, it matters.
It makes you work together.
It's a loyalty. So
there's no loyalty.
There's no loyalty.
Not anymore, no.
I look at it that, so I look at it that way. The loyalty thing is gone. That you've got a team and a college that has said, we value you to the degree that we're going to give you free schooling and we're gonna support you, we're going to play you. But then if someone else offers them a better deal and I'll get more money there or I'll get a bigger NIL deal, we'll jump ship and go. Right, and there's no loyalty. And I think, that creates bad work ethic.
Yes.
Because I would look at that and go, I don't know that I want to gamble hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring that kid onto my team because he might be gone next year. I'm not going to invest all in that person. So I look at it from the business side of that. As a school and as an athletic program, I wouldn't want to take that gamble.
Yeah, see, I'm under the same. I'm under this impression. I love the idea of putting money aside, putting money away for them. I mean, I heard the other day Marvin Harrison. They're talking about $10 million in NIL deals for him. $10 million. $10 million.
Gosh,
he's gonna make more than his dad did.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
$10 million.
I bet. I'm curious what Marvin Harrison's rookie contract was.
Yeah, right. But I mean, you look back and.
Like
800,000.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Sure, it wasn't a Tony's contract. That's sure.
Yeah.
Now, Michigan just had one of our basketball players do this.
Oh,
he left and went to Kansas.
Okay, yeah.
And our coach, bring him up, taught him everything, got him from where he could make a jump shot.
Yep.
And he was one of the best centers, best big guys out there. And this year he jumped.
He jumps ship
because of money.
Yep.
And went to another school.
Oh yeah.
How close are we?
I couldn't believe it.
His initial rookie contract was $4,800,000.
Wow.
Oh, we had
Marvin Harrison?
Yeah.
We had the 800 right.
I was wrong.
We had the 800 right now.
So
$4 million.
I looked
at
at
it says drafted and amount earned, and then his extension he got paid. He got $19 million when he got his extension, and his second extension he got $42 million. But his initial rookie contract was this is total rookie contract $5,825,000. guaranteed $2 million, amount earned $4,805,000.
And dad's going to get, and the kid's
And his son's going to get $10 million before he even signs an NFL contract.
And that's what I'm saying. You look back. I would rather them see okay, look, we know that there are players that excel over other players. That happens, right? I mean, it just exists. It's real,
Of course,
right? You got the top 300, right? Draft. It's just real. Fine. You bring somebody in like a Marvin Harrison Jr. You bring him over to Ohio State. Here's what we're going to give you free college. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to set money aside for you. If you get hurt, we're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
We're going to take care of you.
Yeah.
If you can't go to the NFL, you can't play because, whatever, you blew out your leg or whatever it is, right?
So
we're going to take care of you. You're going to get X amount of dollars as an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Play for us.
That's
we
what
will take care of you.
Yep. Baseball players do that. They
Absolutely.
pitchers insure their arms.
Yeah.
So that if something happens, I've got that to fall back on. They should do that for every player that
but
plays.
instead, they have made this a joke. I mean, there's no loyalty anymore. What are you going to buy a jersey? Well, what number on it?
Yeah.
I'm going to leave the number blank because you never know who's going to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
You're going to be somebody different next year.
I mean, there are D1 athletes that have insurance policies
Sure.
now.
There are.
Oh, yeah.
football
There
players, they have insurance
But
policies.
But here's
on there
what I'm
themselves.
saying. Let the
Yeah.
school, hey, we're going to take
school.
care of you. We're bringing you over. We recruited you highly. You're the number one quarterback in the country coming out of high
Yeah.
school. We're going to take care of you. Play the game.
Yeah.
and stay with the team.
Play the game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Play the
And
game.
for
You stay
fans-
with us the whole time.
And for fans like us who are purists, I would say pure.
Yeah, we are.
That
That's
would
right.
keep college football pure,
Exactly.
like in
and
a way.
it's not. They're destroying
Yeah,
it.
You're
because when you
lo-
have
yeah.
that guy making
destroying
multiple millions, then you can go. You could say, all right, he's. I don't know what he's getting paid when he's 30. I don't know what Joe Bob number 55 guard over here is getting paid when he's 30. There's no worry about or seeing any of that. Somebody getting into another level than you.
College
Or a
used to be
higher level.
fun. Now it's a bit business.
That's
now
that's
it's
the key.
more of a business like the NFL.
I don't think it's wrong for players to get paid for their likeness. I think
No, I don't
let's
either.
face it, it is a draw to it, right? And I know I keep going on Marvin Harrison Jr., but I mean, Ohio State, he's the reason. He's a face of that team, right? And we know why.
Yeah,
Okay, he should get something for that. He
Right.
should, but it's not $10 million.
yeah.
I'm sorry, it's not $10 million. I mean, the school's going to make $100 million. Fine, it's not $10 million.
I look at it though. I'm more line up with Kevin on it. That I feel like you're already getting something.
Yeah.
Right. You're getting paid, schooling wise, and you are getting all the tools, all the resources, all the training, all the advantages to go to the next level.
Yes.
And make millions. Like,
Set him on a bonus.
what's that?
Set him up on a bonus.
Yeah, you could do that too.
You play for us. If you make it to the draft to get picked in the first 2 rounds, the school pays you $500,000.
Yeah.
Set him on a bonus. Give him
Yeah.
a reason to learn and improve.
I listened to a I listened to a video. This is years ago. Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley were on the Oprah Winfrey show.
Oh, God.
It was quite interesting. Actually, it's a really
Just
funny.
the fact that you were watching Oprah Winfrey show
Yeah, well,
scares
that's
me.
another
No.
thing.
Can I have your man card, please?
No. It was a video, not the show. Actually, it was like it was behind the scenes. I don't even think that it was aired. I don't know. So the thing was, they were talking about Jordan. They were talking to Jordan about the idea of, does it bother you that people or that kids coming out of high school or college going into NBA were getting paid millions and millions of dollars right out of school, right, for their first year? And he said, yes, I don't think it's good. And he said, and I love his attitude on this. He said, I think it creates poor work ethic for those kids, because if you're giving them all that money, he said, all those people are doing, you're paying that kid on potential. You don't even know if he's going to make it. You don't know if he's going to be good. Just because you're good in college doesn't mean you're going to be in the NFL or the NBA.
Right.
And so I love that idea, and I wonder if there's some of that too with some of these kids. They'll go and I'll get an NIL deal. Now I'm set. I don't have to work as hard for my team. I don't have to go play in a bowl game, because what if I get hurt and all that stuff? And
There's a very few, but there's some kids who leave high school and go right to the NBA.
oh yeah,
So they're not
Yeah.
even getting that.
Especially the NBA. Especially the
They're
NBA.
not growing up and getting to
I don't think they
college.
can in NFL, right? Isn't
No.
there an age
No.
limit? You got to
Yeah.
be at a certain
But
age,
you,
Right.
20 or
you
something
can be
like
a
that.
walk-on in the NFL. You don't have to go to college.
No.
True,
But
yeah.
you can be a walk-on at whatever year, 20 years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's an age.
There's an age you can be a walk-on.
Right, that's true.
It's like you said, it's taken. I don't want to say the fun out of college football, but it's taken the loyalty and the camaraderie and the, when you sat there and you're rooting for them. You're walking down the school. I mean, you're going to school there as a student, and the players are there. It's a
They
whole
all
different
back you.
atmosphere.
They all support
And,
you.
They're gone. Oh yeah. Well, he was
Yeah.
here last year. Oh, he was here last year.
Yeah.
He left us for $5 million or $3 million
What
or
was,
$1
what
million.
was Deion Sanders' quote? He said, "These guys ain't even loyal to their girlfriends.
Exactly.
What makes you think
Right.
they're going to be loyal to their football
exactly.
team?"
Exactly
Right.
right. And it's sad. They've just.
I think
It's sad. It's sad.
I think it
right.
takes away from it. I think eventually this will take away from any kind of rivalry stuff, because if you don't like, if you go to a school because you think you're going to get an NIL deal, you're not going there because I love this school.
Right.
Because so you're
Yeah.
not going to grow up with this kind of. You're not going to grow up with the animosity that Florida State and Miami have, right? Or Ohio State and Michigan have. You're not going
That's
to have
true.
that. And so eventually, over years and years and years, eventually these games are not going to really matter
Just gonna be
that
another
much.
game.
There's going to be another game on the schedule. And so I think we have lost the pure aspect of college football because it's so
passion.
business related. And
So,
it is, yeah.
So
it's a
I
passion
went.
thing.
I went to the Florida. I always try to go to at least 1 or 2 Florida State games a year, and I went to the Florida State Miami game this year up in Doak. And
How was that game?
We won. It's
Oh,
Squeaked by a terrible Miami team.
we won. We won. That's all that matters.
Maybe it's why they're not in the playoffs.
On the right hand side, it's 0. See, 13-0. That's just letting you know. Number
Sorry.
three team in the country, self-proclaimed. Okay.
Comparable to
UCF national
UCF.
championship. Here we go. No, I'm not claiming national championship. I'm not going that far, but we are ACC champs. Anyway, it is a different atmosphere over the years, and I've been going to Florida State games for 30 years, and I've noticed over the last couple of years, football's not as big. Now, again, Florida State wasn't playing well. We were doing really bad. I mean, since Jimbo Fisher did what he did and Willie Taggart and the rest of them coming in until we got to Mike finally, right? Mike saved us.
Yeah.
We go through all of this stuff, and we're looking at a position where I've noticed that if football is not as big a deal as it used to be, and I'm worried and I'm wondering if that's happening at other campuses. I'm wondering if it's happening at Ohio State or Michigan or
Probably
in
is.
Miami. If it's just not becoming, if the kids are not grasping onto what that means, what a rivalry game means. When
Yeah.
Florida State and Florida play each other, Florida State and Miami play each other. That's Ohio State and Michigan. That is a huge deal.
Biggest game of the year.
The announcers at a Miami game were making that comment this year. They were talking about how empty the student section is in Miami games, and part of that's because we haven't been playing good for many years. But you're right. I mean,
They empty out.
if they're not loyal.
The Florida State Miami game, half that student section was gone by the end of the third quarter. It was gone.
Well, I don't know about you got Michigan. Their stadium sells out almost every game.
Oh, it was sold out.
Even
but
the
they
last
leave.
10, 15 years that we were horrible,
Yeah,
they're still selling out. The kids still go.
Well, and I can't say Florida State's been selling out because I don't think they've been selling out for the past few years. There have been some games that have, but even if they sold out, they still leave. They leave before the game's over.
yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that I don't leave.
I stay to
You're
the
up by
end, too.
40, great. When that clock hits zero in the end of the fourth quarter, that's when I'll leave. I'm not
Yeah.
leaving until it's done. Right?
Yeah.
It's just what it is. But
What about if you're down by 40?
I don't leave.
Still stay?
I don't leave.
Yeah.
I'm a
That's
fan.
dedication.
I'm a true fan.
Right.
I'm going to take my lumps and I'm going to be
Yeah.
there.
What if it's pouring rain?
I've done it before. What's the difference? I'm inside the stadium or at a tailgate?
Right,
Don't make
right,
a difference,
right.
Right.
But I mean, I just see. I think there is somewhat a fall away, and I think this whole thing with NIL is going to make it even worse.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. It's definitely
gonna get worse.
It will. So let's throw another wrinkle in there. What about transfer portal?
Nope.
Is that a good thing, bad
That's
thing?
part of the NIL. I mean, they're transferring for the money.
Yeah.
There's no loyalty. We just
Well,
Yeah.
here
Now-
as someone
now, yeah.
who has their quarterback leaving
leave,
and entered
yeah.
the transfer
Yeah.
portal because the Buckeyes, their quarterback decides he's going to enter the transfer portal, and it's like what? Because you lost to Michigan? Like, are
That's
you a
it.
chicken?
Yeah, that's- yeah.
I mean, like,
For what?
like there. And again, that it's like, well, I'm going to take the easy way out. You know, it's just Kyle McCord. What are you doing? You know,
Yeah.
he's a good quarterback, so I don't understand why he's doing it. They don't say why. I mean, sometimes players do, but it's why. Like what?
yeah, because they could.
You're
they could
leaving.
next year. They got next year. Where
You're
they could be
leaving
great.
one of the best programs, and it's also frustrating to me as a fan. Not that I let it carry that much weight with me, but it's like, yo, we built something these past 2 years with you as backing up
right.
C.J. Stroud. Now you're here starting the whole season. Let's take that season and roll it into next season. But
Build on
now
it,
we got to
yeah.
start with somebody else fresh who doesn't have the experience, and it's like that's that loyalty that's just.
I think
gone.
there's a place for the transfer portal. Okay,
Yeah.
I do think there's a place for it.
What place is that?
So, for example, in all
place is
seriousness,
that?
let's say you've got two really good quarterbacks on the team.
Yeah.
Right, one's going to start, one's not. But second stringer, he's a solid quarterback. Somebody needs a quarterback. He has an opportunity to go out and prove himself on a team.
Joe Burrow.
I can see that.
Joe Burrow
you
would
go.
have never started at Ohio State.
That's right.
He would have never started
That's
at Ohio
right.
State.
Never
He
had a chance.
transferred to LSU, won a championship.
Correct.
So I agree with that.
So there's
to an
a
extent,
place
yeah.
for it, but that's where the loyalty comes in.
Yeah.
Well, we had that.
The players have to
ago,
have loyalty. If the players don't have loyalty, the transfer portal doesn't work.
where
Yeah.
McCarthy left Michigan and went to Iowa.
Correct.
Yeah. Or I think one of the ways it did work in a good way, the illustration I'll use is a couple years ago, Jalen Hurts at Alabama.
Yeah.
Led them to a national championship.
Yep.
Then they went to the national championship game. He did not play well the first half. They put Tua in, and Tua, they won the game. And all of a sudden, now Jalen Hurts is on the bench. He rode the bench for a whole year,
He did.
right? And then to showcase his talent, he went to Oklahoma.
Right.
And so it's one of those things, like, that wasn't a loyalty thing, I don't think. That was more, I wanted to show that to the
I
world
can
that I can
play,
play,
yeah.
and I get a chance to play in the
and
NFL.
again, pre-NIL, right? So he had to
Yes.
prove himself in the NFL, right? Which
Right.
he has, obviously.
Yeah.
He's done that.
Yep.
I think what it sounds like is there's not necessarily anything wrong with the transfer portal. It's what NIL has done to the
That's
transfer portal.
correct.
That's the key,
It's all
yeah.
about NIL.
Yeah, because now there's the factor of money is in it when it wasn't before. See, before it was just like, well, I want an opportunity to show myself so I can go to the NFL and I can get the big paycheck
Right.
in the NFL.
Correct.
But now it's like, well, now I want to transfer to somebody who's going to give me more money. And that's
Well, and that's
That
the thing.
stinks.
All along, you could change schools anytime.
yeah.
There was legalities to
Redshirting,
that,
sitting, whatever, yeah.
sitting and all that kind of stuff. But if you really wanted to do it, you'd put some skin in the game, and you'd be willing to do that. But it wasn't about money then.
That's correct.
It's not immediate money. You were trying to get to the NFL.
Money's corrupted
obviously.
it. Money's completely
Yes.
It
corrupted
sure has. Yeah,
And it's a shame. It really is a shame.
it is
Yeah.
sad. It is very sad.
But I think there is a place. I think the transfer portal has a place for it. It always has had a place. And I think it's necessary. I just wish they'd take the NIL out of it. They're not going to, but I wish
They're
they
not.
would.
It's
So
going
I,
to get worse.
No, it's not going anywhere.
I wonder. Not that any of our high school stuff around here is big enough to have this take place, but I wonder.
Go Panthers.
Will we ever see that? I don't know. What do you guys think? Will we ever see a trickle down
To high school level?
To high school level. What do you think?
Texas, and state of Texas,
That's
Oklahoma.
big.
they-
Well, Texas, West
it's-
Texas, man.
yeah.
Ohio too.
That's
Ohio's
big
a
stuff
huge
up there.
football
Big,
state.
yeah. Well, anything Miami. I mean, golly.
Oh, yeah.
Half of the college players come out of Miami, Clewiston, all those things.
Yeah.
I think you could have a trickle down. I think you absolutely could.
I
According-
wonder how that works.
Some
with
of
talking,
those-
boosters.
some of those
talking to
schools-
Brian, because Brian is our youth pastor here, and he as the chaplain for Eustis High School's football team.
Yep.
And he was talking about like Leesburg they
Oh, yeah.
kind of do that. They have like the nicer weight room. They give the students the last 2 periods of the day so they can start football practice before school actually ends. Wow. They have a much bigger weight room. And he said all these players, they want to go to Leesburg not because of money, but it's the opportunity. It's like, oh, I get the nicer fit, I get the nicer weight room, I get I can be done with practice at 4. There's a lot of factors, and it's kind of the same thing. It's not money, so it doesn't necessarily corrupt as much, but there's definitely a pull in that direction. Yeah.
Now there's going to be a scandal.
I've
in
seen
the
some of
Orlando
these high school
newspaper.
stadiums. Some of these high school stadiums in Texas that are
Oh yeah.
more than the school. I mean, more than anything. They're
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah. No doubt.
They've got millions into them.
Yeah. Very interesting. I don't know if it'll ever trickle down, but listen, money talks. And when you're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about boosters and
Boosters.
we don't think it would ever happen, but I never thought college football would look like this.
I never thought college football.
No, I never thought
I
we
never
had
thought
that.
they would put the money into it. I
No.
never thought they would allow this. They fought it for years. I never thought they would allow it.
Yeah.
Now
Now,
that it's here,
is the NIL?
I know. They're sitting there going, "Boy, we made a mistake."
Probably.
They can't do anything about it.
It's the
but
cat's
you
out of the
know-
bag now. Yeah.
But behind closed doors, they're going, "We really goofed."
Is
Yeah.
the
This is
NIL
bad.
trickling into baseball and softball?
It's going to trickle everything.
And wrestling?
It's going to go into everything. Why
Is
not?
it,
what?
but is it there yet? I don't know if it's even there yet.
I don't know.
It
I
could.
don't know if it will.
Could
But it
trickle
will. I think it will.
I think if it did, it would trickle into basketball before it trickles
Yeah.
into baseball. Baseball is a little bit different.
It is
College
really
baseball is a little bit different. But I do think that
Except for
college.
Showa.
I think. Yeah.
It's
What
what?
was that, $700 million?
He deferred 680 of
Oh
it.
yeah, wow.
He's the new Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah, I'll get paid when I'm in a wheelchair.
I think he
90 years
gets
old.
paid till 2045. I think he's going to be paid. He's deferred. He took $20 million.
Wow.
He deferred $680 million.
Nice.
I remember when I got a raise
He's the
of
new Bobby Bonilla.
$300. I was super excited.
Yay!
I
And
heard real quick. I heard today that the Dodgers' first game that he's going to play at home, the tickets $900, and that's the standing room only section. That's not even a seat. You have to stand.
As a parent,
$900.
can I squeak this in that I
Go for
cannot
it.
stand how much they charge for games now? Like,
I was just
Any of
I
going to say
cannot
this.
take my
Any of it.
kids, man,
Any
to a
of it.
game. It's
It's all
just
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Concerts, games, doesn't matter. Everything.
That's all.
We talk about, and I was listening to a guy talk about this a while back. His point was, we want the next generation to grow up loving sports, watching sports.
Can't afford to go.
You can't afford to go to a game. Absolutely can't. Second of all, the games that they put on for us to watch, World Series games, NBA, NFL games, they all start at 8 o'clock at night, these championship games. Kids that are in grade school, they can't stay up on a school night and watch a football game or watch a World Series game. You can't. So we're not even letting these kids grow up in that world. So anyway,
I didn't mean to take us down a rabbit hole. Sorry.
we should be able to run all of sports. That's
Well,
what
they
should
got
be.
somehow they got to pay for NIL.
That's right. Yeah, that is it.
They got to pay for it.
That's the trickle. Yeah, for sure. All right. So here's what we're gonna do. Last question. Predictions. So we've got Alabama and Michigan, the first of the games, and then we have Washington and Texas. Your predictions on what's going to happen and who's going to play for the national championship.
Michigan and Texas.
You think Michigan and Texas? Do you think Texas beats Washington?
Yes, I think Texas beats Washington. I think it's going to be a probably 7-12 point game.
Okay.
And I think Michigan's going to beat. Or I know Michigan's going to beat Alabama.
You know.
I know, and I'm going to
I
enjoy some
think-
chicken wings later that day.
So Kevin and I have a little wager going
Oh, okay.
here.
He wouldn't do my sandwich place, Beefy King.
No,
I'm not
Beefy
driving
King.
to
He did the
Orlando.
wings. See?
Beefy King's good, man.
I'm telling you.
Kevin made me a believer. That place is good.
I never had
man.
BB Kings. I guess I'll try that
I've
place.
It
never
is
been-
good.
I've never had it.
Well, you see,
Beefy King's happy right now.
it's worth the drive.
getting the plug.
But either way,
This podcast sponsored by Beefy King and
Fish and chicks.
Fish and Chicks.
I think Michigan's going to beat them probably by 3-5. I think it's going to be close.
Okay.
Last second.
You guys, what else?
I
Y'all
say
think?
Bama and Texas rematch. I say Bama beats Michigan because Michigan doesn't know how to win big games unless they're playing Ohio State.
I was gonna say, they just beat you
What are you
guys.
talking about?
Here's the thing.
3 years in a row.
Yeah. Well, 1 year without cheating. 2 years you cheated. 1 year, you had a legitimate win, and you only won because our quarterback had to throw an interception in the red zone. So
As much as this disgusts me to say, I think it's going to be Alabama and Texas in the championship.
So we all
game.
agree
Yeah.
on Texas.
I think Texas
Yeah.
is going to beat Washington. I really do.
I agree with Texas.
But I
too.
actually think Alabama's going to win it all.
yeah,
And
I don't
hate
think
saying
Washington
that.
has that talent level.
Washington, I don't think Texas. I think Texas can beat them. Now again, any given Saturday, they got to show up. But
Yeah.
I think Texas is going to beat Washington. I think Alabama will beat Michigan. Alabama. Look, I know why they put them in there. I don't agree why they put them in there. They are strong right now. They're back to form. They're playing well.
They are.
Their defense is playing really well. I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think it's a blowout by any stretch of the
No,
imagination.
it won't be a blowout.
But I think they will beat Michigan. I think Texas does beat Washington, and then I think just the fact that Texas beat Alabama, they've got something to prove.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're getting a little insight on us. Brady's there helping right now.
Is he?
He's helping coach
Good.
Really?
our
Oh, that's cool.
quarterbacks.
That is cool.
They showed a couple of videos of him there throwing, trying to give some help and give some advice to get into this big game because it's a big game.
It's
yeah.
a huge
yeah.
game.
Yep.
And he's helping our quarterback's been dropping the ball. He hasn't been throwing as good as he could.
Okay.
So I think he's there to help and say, hey,
Yeah.
We know how big Michigan Ohio State is. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the game, right? We know that. This is probably Michigan's biggest game in years.
It
if you
is.
take the Ohio
Oh, yeah.
State game out, this is the biggest
Yes.
game Michigan's
This-
had in 15 years.
This is Michigan's opportunity to shut the critics up.
this is
prove it,
this is
yeah.
this is to prove.
Yeah.
This,
and
I,
they
listen,
won't be able to do it.
secretly, I hope you do. I hope you shut out Alabama. I hope you destroy Alabama. I can't stand them. Just for a shameless plug, Ryan, if you're listening to this, that's what I said. But I hope Alabama gets destroyed.
yes.
I just don't think they will.
All right, my vote. I vote Texas blows out Washington. I think they will beat them by 25.
Wow.
It's a bold
Washington
prediction.
That's a
played-
bold
they don't-
prediction.
They don't play anybody.
They
You're
played
right.
Oregon twice.
That's it.
I know.
And barely squeaked by Oregon.
I know.
So that's just my vote. My vote is they blow them out. I believe Alabama's going to beat Michigan. And again, just because of how Alabama's playing and the pedigree of their coaches. Like, it's hard to bet against Saban. Like, he is
Yeah.
so
It
good.
is. It
He
is.
is just
I
so
can
good.
agree with that. I can
So I think if it gets to a close game, I think coaching margin there
Yes.
wins out.
And we have our coach back for this.
Yes, you do. That's
Well,
right.
well,
We have our
That's
coach
good.
back.
Well, because he's finally off the sidelines
Yeah,
looking
he-
for signs. So.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing for three weeks.
So I will side with you. I do believe that I think it's going to be Texas and Alabama in the championship, and I believe that Alabama will get there this time. It's hard to beat Alabama twice in the same year just because of who they are. I mean,
Yeah.
And whether they deserve it to be there or not, we covered that already.
Yeah.
I do think they're going to win it. I
do
really
too.
do think
I
so.
do too.
With the way their defense is and the way what's his name, their quarterback Milroe. Milway or whatever. He's playing really good now.
He is. He is. They're solid. They've got good receivers.
You should not be able to be his size and run a 4.240. Like that's just it should be illegal.
Fast.
I would not want to get in front of him. That's for sure.
I think no matter what, it is going to be a good championship game.
I agree.
I think it's going to be good. Whether it's Michigan in there or Alabama in there, I think we all agree it's going to be Texas. But whether it's Michigan or Alabama, I think it's going to be a good game.
Well, it's going to be ironic if it's Washington.
That'd be crazy. If
Now,
Washington,
but that would kind of be a cool thing because for so long
That's what TCU did.
For
Yeah.
so
Nobody
long,
picked
it's
them.
been an
Sure.
ACC or an SEC team in it that won it. Like it'd be kind of neat to see.
Yeah.
I mean, the last one not SEC or ACC was Ohio State in 14.
Yeah.
So it's been like 9 years, almost 10 years since. So that would be kind of cool to see that. All right. Any other thoughts on the whole college football? Do we need to chime in?
Does anybody think Florida State would beat Michigan?
No.
I don't think Florida State would have beat Michigan. No,
I'm
and
sure.
Michigan. The reason I think Alabama will beat Michigan is because Michigan is kind of 1.5 dimensional. If you can shut down their run, which Ohio State was not able to
gotta
do,
shut down the run.
You've got to shut down their run, and
But
they
that's Florida State's strong point.
are. Well, then maybe they could have, but we'll never know.
I know the that's why I want to see that game because I think I don't know if we could have kept up scoring
Yeah,
defensively. You're going to be passing the ball. You ain't running.
yeah.
And we got a strong defense.
And that's
You
going to
do.
be
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't know if
good
we could have
defense.
kept up.
Yeah.
I don't know if our second string quarterback would have been able to keep up with scoring. Right?
all season,
we've got
they-
excellent receivers. I mean, Keon, Johnny, they would have played at that point.
we
right?
held out all season with no one
But-
scoring on us in the third, so we can
but-
keep that up.
I think we would have shut your running game down, and that would have made the game more interesting. That's why I think Florida State deserved the chance. I think we were not thrown out of it. I think our defense keeps us in the game.
You were hooked. You
Yeah,
should have
I
been.
think our defense would have kept us in that game, at least given us a good opportunity. I don't think it would have been a TCU blowout. So
no. I don't think so either.
that's what I'll
Yeah.
end on. Go Noles. Thank you very much.
And I will say this about the whole Florida State thing, and I would even say the Georgia thing, but more of the Florida State thing, because Georgia obviously they won it the last 2 years. I would say I feel bad for the Florida State seniors.
Yes.
That man,
They are rough.
they busted their butts the last
Yeah.
couple
They
of years,
feel
and they
like
didn't
for
get
what?
a chance.
For what?
Yeah, I didn't
For
get a
what?
chance. Just because our quarterback went down.
Yep.
Any conference champion deserves to play for a title.
Did you hear what Jordan Travis said? Jordan Travis is quoted saying that he wishes he went down sooner in the season so they could have proved what the team really was.
Yeah.
He
I
actually
heard- I
said
heard-
that.
I heard that,
He's a
yeah.
team guy.
Yeah.
He's a team guy.
I like Jordan
And I got to
Travis.
be honest, I wasn't a Jordan Travis fan a few years ago. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the bandwagon.
Right.
But he's a team guy. He's a team. And he
Yeah.
came a long way.
Jordan Travis.
It's a shame what happened to him. It's a shame.
Jordan Travis might not be the most skilled passer or even quarterback, but he's a winner.
He is.
And he's a leader.
He's a leader. He keeps plays
Yeah.
alive, and he doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
Let me ask you this: if Michigan's coach wasn't coaching, would they still have let them get into this game?
Oh, that's interesting.
Because your quarterback, right?
Yeah.
If we lost our head coach for this final game,
I don't think that would have mattered.
Because
And
you won without him. You won without him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You
And
you
beat
won-
Michigan.
but
you won without your quarterback.
Yeah, I get that. But team,
Well,
Oh,
What was it? 57 yards.
13 and
57 yards passing.
55.
55. Oh, sorry.
55.
he didn't lose it for them. Okay,
He didn't.
You can say, He didn't
He
lose
managed
it for
the
you.
game.
He didn't throw a pick.
He managed the game.
Yeah. Yep.
No
and that's
turnovers.
and that's what he was asked to do.
It
in
was
that
like
game.
Yeah.
a 12 passer rating. But right to affiliate, baby. Watch next year.
We'll
Watch
see.
next year.
Yep.
Heir apparent through Benson. This kid's gonna be good. We're gonna have a running game. I'm
Very
telling
good.
you. I'm excited for next year. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Now we just gotta find a quarterback.
Yeah. True.
Well,
so
pick up
so
Kyle.
does Ohio State.
Kyle McCord.
DJ, I can't ever say the guy's last name. Ugalisi.
Oh yeah.
You can pick
the
up
guy
Kyle-
from Clemson.
The
The guy that transferred from Clemson.
But he transferred. He's coming in for a workout and look
You
at.
better not take him. He's terrible. Sorry. If you're listening, Ugaduga, I don't know. I can't pronounce that guy's name. I don't
DJ,
know.
just say DJ.
There you go. He was, yeah, anyway.
That's great.
I think he's
Ugalisi? Is it
he's
Ugalisi?
overrated. Like, what's his name
I agree.
from
But he's
Florida
better.
a couple years
He's better
ago?
than Glenn.
Richardson.
He's better than Glenn. Though.
Way overrated. Yeah. Anyway,
He can get more than 55 yards.
we should not be bashing people.
We really shouldn't.
Sorry, I apologize.
A Knoll for life, baby. Knoll for life. Doesn't matter. Knoll for
true.
life. I was a
That's
Knoll during Jimbo Fisher. I was a Knoll during Willie Taggart. I'm a Knoll during
Oh,
my Knoll.
Willie.
And Bobby Bowden, baby. God bless you, Bobby.
So here's the interesting thing, and we're gonna wrap up. The interesting thing about this, and Tyler and I were talking about this the other day, and we're talking about doing this college football podcast, and it's interesting. We honestly, if we wanted to, we could go for hours on this.
Oh, yeah.
This college football thing, because we could start picking on each other about different things and teams and all that stuff. But we don't have to. I mean, obviously, we don't have time to do that. We wouldn't have to stop
Are you
this
sure?
thing. Like,
you
seriously,
sure?
we could go for a long time. It's interesting to me how crazy passionate we are about this kind of things, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Like the idea of college football. We can sit and talk for hours. I think about it like I drive down the road thinking about college football, thinking about and a lot of it's coming from my perspective. Mine is like griping because why did Miami do this? Why did the coach not do that? Why are they playing like this? Why are they all these different things, right? I could do better.
Why didn't we take a knee?
Right. Yeah. All these different things. But we're so passionate about it, right? We go out and we buy jerseys, right? We go out to represent our team. We spend lots and lots of money on game tickets or making sure we get to watch the game or memorabilia. I mean, all this kind of stuff. And I thought, nothing wrong with that. But I thought, what would it be like if we could raise up a generation of men and women that had that same kind of intensity about their relationship with Christ, or about the idea of the mission of the church and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not knocking, not that we shouldn't watch college football, but I'm just saying, what would that look like? I mean, how would the church move forward if we would have that same kind of passion where we, like, I will sit at home, or I'll be honest, I'll sit in the deer stand and I'll think strategies about Miami Hurricanes. Like, what could we do? How about this? We should play this guy. We should run this zone. All these different things. If I had that same kind of intensity, or if we all had that same intensity about our relationship with Christ, man, just think about how different life would be. And I think so not even the idea of our relationship with Jesus, but the other idea of like, what if I invested the same amount of time that I do thinking about college football if I could do that and transfer some of that to the idea of how can I love my wife better? How can I take care of her better? Or the time and the energy that I have committed to college football, and I will make sure that, on Saturday afternoon, I'll make sure I don't have anything on my calendar because I want to watch the game, right? We get that way. What if we had that same mentality of saying, you know what? There's a family down the street that I know is really in need. I'm going to carve out my Saturday afternoon so I can go and be a blessing to them. I just think about all that kind of stuff. Like we're all guilty of it. I mean, we're all guilty of kind of getting narrow-minded and passionate about college football, but shouldn't there be that same intensity? And so I just wanted to kind of leave us with that thought of not as a downer, but just as an encouragement to us, like the idea that I could devote more time to studying God's word. I can devote more time to prayer. I can devote more time to serving other people and having at least that mentality that, before I'm a Miami Hurricane fan or a Michigan or a Criminals or any of these. I had to get one more in there. One more in there.
Miami was the
I'm
Criminals.
first. No, we were the Cocaine Cowboys. That's who we were. So before, I know I opened that door. So before I'm a fan of Miami, I got to recognize I'm a follower of Jesus first. And I think that's the key, is making sure we keep those priorities in line and keep that balance
That's
right
the
in
word.
our
You
lives.
said it, priorities.
Yeah,
It's all about priorities.
Yeah, it is.
Making time for a family, making time for other people. It's all about priorities. It has to be.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the off season, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Yes. So the question is, we'll leave this question. If you found out that there's a family in town that is called and needs help on January 1st, in the afternoon when the Michigan game is on. Or do y'all play on November 1st?
No, we play on the 30.
Yeah, he'll play.
Would we not watch the game so we can go serve that other person? Of course, there's DVR. We could record it, right? But I think I think it's worth asking that. Like, would we have the same intensity to serve people as we would about college football? And I don't know. That's a hard thing to think about.
Can I at least listen to it?
You can have an earbud in as you're serving, right?
No.
That's me. I'd have the broadcast in my ear. Yeah, I can. Listen to the radio.
I can help you, but
it's not a question.
No.
You have to do that.
Right.
Others have to come first.
Sure.
Yeah.
If we're going to profess to be followers, then others come first.
Sure.
Period.
It has to be.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I think in my this is a personal conviction of mine. I think about how much time I devote to watching college football, and then I think, is that really healthy for me when I could be doing things that are more positive? Again, I'm not knocking it. We should. I mean, God gave us college football. I think God gave it.
I
as a
devote
gift.
0 time to college football watching on Saturday. 0.
Yeah, whatever.
I watch less than I used to. I
do watch less than I used to.
Let's address Kevin's basketball problem, though. That's a whole different
that
story.
That could be a different podcast, right?
Kevin, what you don't know, this is intervention.
Yeah. Yes. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed the conversation today, as we've kind of obviously picked on each other a little bit, but at the same time, hopefully talked about some things that, I don't know, I think are valid concerns about the progression of college football. Yeah. But also more than that, again, first and foremost, we are followers of Jesus. Yes. Our loyalty is to Jesus first, not a mascot or a college football team. It's to Jesus. And so I think that sometimes we all need that reality check, that we need to hone it back in and recognize what the priority is in our life. And so good stuff. Thank you guys for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
Been a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe we'll do round 2 down the road after Michigan loses.
Go Blue.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's talk about how bad the playoffs actually were.
Yeah.
Without Florida State in them, baby.
Yeah. Florida State's going to be like, see, I told you I could have been there. Right. All right. How about we have a word of prayer before we kind of take off here today? God, we love you, and we love college football. We love the fact that we live in a country where we're free to watch that, and the game is played, and it brings us a lot of joy. But God, I pray that you would help us never think that a team winning a championship or beating a rival is going to bring us pure joy. That only comes from you. And so we do sometimes, Father, get our priorities out of line. We devote maybe too much time to certain things, and it's not just college football, but it might be a hobby, it might be an addiction, it might be work that sometimes takes us away from our family, takes us away from our walk with you. And so I pray that you would give us wisdom of how to discern those things and keep that balance right and those priorities in line with who you are and what you've asked us to do. We love you, and I thank you for the fellowship that we've had here today. And we ask your blessing over our lives. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. God bless.